What's up, everybody? This is yours truly, Mr. Studtacular Brysin Scott, and you're listening to DNC Digital.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy D from DNC Digital, back with another episode of DNC Radio. I hope everybody's doing good. Some crazy times right now. Just make sure your families are safe, your kids are good, the people that you care about are good, and make sure you reach out, check on everybody. Today we have a cool episode coming up. We have Brysin Scott on the show. Brysin Scott is a gentleman who has served in the military for about 8 years, and he was an extra in the WWE. He had a match on 205 Live. And we're just going to talk about his career and what's going on and how COVID has affected professional wrestling. Brysin, welcome to the show, man.
What's up, D? How's it going?
Everything's good, man. How have you been? Everything good?
It's getting better. It's getting better, definitely. I mean, we've seen better times, we've seen worse times, but things are definitely looking better.
As a pro wrestler, what do you do on the weekends now that there aren't any shows?
Now it's just mainly devoted to making sure my family has fun, you know. We were always on the road together to go into shows. So since we're not able to go to shows, I still try and make sure we're doing something family oriented, more geared to, you know, because I do work a Monday through Friday gig. So when I have my time on the weekends, it's definitely geared more towards the family and doing something with the kids.
Would you say that all this time off has been a blessing in disguise and like strengthening the relationship with your kids and your wife?
Definitely. That and my body. So yeah, my body definitely thanks me for it. But definitely my marriage, my family probably thanks me for it as well. I do. I know I do.
That's good. Hey, one thing I wanted to know, this documentary that they got on The Undertaker on WWE.
It's awesome. It's like the only thing I've watched.
Love. It's kind of weird to watch him out of character, but even so, there is a point in the show where he mentions that he thought taking all that time off, having one match a year or two matches a year was going to be good for him. It turns out that it hurt him even more. Now I'm interested in knowing, is it true what he said in that, you know, your body gets used to the bumps, you get the so-called mileage on your body and the reps, and would time off be really detrimental to a wrestling career and your body? And has it happened to you?
It definitely has happened to me. I definitely can see where he's coming from, you know, like if you're definitely hitting the road every weekend and stuff like that, taking those bumps, your body gets callous to it, you know. Mm-hmm. The reps are there, so your body's used to it, you know. I can't wait for my first ones back, you know. It's definitely going to be fun, you know. It's not going to be something that I look forward to right away. But it's going to feel good to get back in the ring. I know probably by the end of this, well, I can't say the end of this week because it's Thursday right now, so this week's almost over already. But here soon I'll be getting back to actually training in the ring at least multiple times a week. I have the opportunity to be able to have a little bit more time dedicated to that. So that's something I look forward to because I got a couple big matches that I've been told can be in the works, so
that's good.
Definitely gotta get my body and mind right for those.
Was that something that you ever thought of, that taking the time off might be bad for your body because your body's so used to the bumps?
No, I didn't. I was just like, oh yeah, I'll just take this time off and I'll heal up. And then, like with my knee and then going back to it is just like, oh, that's what that feels like after not doing it for a long time. I guess when I came back from Iraq and I wrestled my first match or whatever, I didn't feel it then because of just the adrenaline and everything else. But now that I am getting older and been doing this as long as I have, I guess I do feel it a little bit more. Definitely.
Are you scared? Are you scared of like what they call ring rust when you get back?
Definitely, definitely. Um, just because I know how much of a perfectionist I am when it comes to how I look, how my moves look, and stuff like that in the ring. So that's definitely something I'm worried about.
Let's go back to the beginning, though. You were born and raised in Virginia Beach. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was actually born at Portsmouth Naval Hospital. But yeah, I grew up mainly in Virginia Beach, and then I would travel back and forth between South Carolina.
So, for somebody who hasn't been to Virginia Beach but heard a lot about it, as a Virginia Beach native, what's one thing you can tell us about the city?
Oh, I wouldn't even be able to tell you now. It's changed so much. The last time I was there was actually this time last year, but it's still like ever changing now. Um, Lynn Haven Mall used to be like amazing. You used to have the best food court ever, but now that all that's changed.
Is there any restaurant that still stands from your childhood that you always used to go to?
Whew. There's a couple down by like the by the inlet, but I'm not really sure. We didn't eat down there much. That was kind of the more expensive places to eat.
What's something somebody might not know about you? You're a second generation wrestler, and your dad was a wrestler, Scott Sawyer. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Talk about growing up watching him in the ring. Was it that made you want to wrestle, or?
Yeah, that's pretty much the reason, because my mom and my dad were divorced, and I lived with my mom all the time. And when I would see my dad, it would be my grandma taking me to wrestling shows to see him. That's the only time I would see him. So that's where that bond was at, why I wanted to be a wrestler. Um, it was cool, man. Like I got to see my dad tag with like Ricky Morton. I got to
Oh
meet
wow,
like
that's so cool.
yeah, like Jimmy Valiant, Bill Eddy, from Demolition. It was cool. I took my first actual like bump in Susan Tex Green's ring in Columbia, South Carolina. And if you don't know who Susan is, she's a legend that never really got the right rub. But like she was good friends with like Moolah and stuff like that, and like Leilani Kai and
Um, when you said that you only used to see your dad a lot when your grandma used to take you to go see him wrestle, um, so you do know the experience of kids of wrestlers now who are traveling, at the time 200, 300 times a year. So you know what they feel. Is there anything you can say
I
about
do.
that? About Go ahead.
Definitely because it's like me and my wife are still together. I
Yeah.
understand it was just my dad on his own, but like me and my wife, even if she's not booked on the show, she's usually there with us, with the kids. That's one thing I made sure, no matter what, it's a family oriented thing, because I never lost sight of that. That was one of the reasons I started, so that's going to be one of the reasons I remain doing it, is for
Would
that
you
family
say you feel
value.
that way because you felt that growing up and you experienced that growing up?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I don't want them to have it just like, oh, this is the only time. I want them to feel it all the time, feel the love all the time.
That's cool. When you started getting out and being a man by yourself, you decided to join the military. Um, that seems like the other way instead of like, you were training already, but what talk about the decision to go into the military? What made you go in?
Um, I was dating somebody at the time, so and I had like I was not doing anything in wrestling at the time. I was doing spot shows here and there. I just started out, so I wasn't really worth booking, honestly. Um, so the girl I was dating talked me into it, you know. I mean, my family, I'd always thought about it. And then I finally decided, yeah, why not? I'm not doing nothing else. And then I ended up doing, you know, becoming a tanker in the Army, and I loved what I did. I ended up doing 5 years, 10 months, and 2 days. It was awesome, just like the movie Fury. They say
Okay.
the best job I ever had. That's pretty much how I feel about it. I mean, it's not often you get to drive a 72-ton tank and get to watch it fire and stuff like that.
You did a few tours in Iraq, right?
I did one tour
Okay.
from February 2011 to November.
And talk about, was it hard to be away from your family? And you know, did you? One thing I wanted to ask is, did you ever stop and realize like why you were there, or did you think of it as a job in itself?
Then it was just a job. Now, looking back, I question a lot of things. But at that time, the family that I had, you know, I don't have anymore. So, but like my mom and stuff like that is it was cool. But uh, those are, I mean, they were difficult times for sure.
What was your mom's reaction to you wanting to join?
She knew it was gonna happen. Both my grandfathers served over 20 years each in the Navy, so she knew I was pretty much gonna end up in the military at some point.
Was it today that you posted a memory, or was it yesterday? You were surprising somebody going home.
Yeah, yeah, that was today. That was
That's
my.
funny. And that's funny that we're doing the interview. So, was it 2 or 3 years ago?
It was just last year.
Okay.
Um, I was working at Planet Fitness at the time and stuff like that, and my mom had told me when my sister was graduating, which was like the same week that her 18th birthday is and everything else. And I ended up getting contacted by the promoter up there as well. And it just so happened that I was able to get the whole week off and stuff like that from work. And ended up flying in on Monday. But I told my mom I couldn't make it until Thursday, which was her birthday, and she graduated Tuesday. So I fly in Monday, stay at the hotel. My dad picks me up. My dad Gary picks me up Tuesday, and that's when we go to the house, and that's where the video starts of me surprising my little sister. That was the same day that she graduated, and then she ended up turning 18 like a couple of days later, and I got to be there for that, so it was pretty cool.
That's a hell of a thing to experience. When you think about the things that you missed while you were out in the military, does it how does that affect you, or is it something that you don't think about while you were out there?
It definitely makes me like holidays and stuff like that, or birthdays and stuff like that. It makes me want to put more into it, just because I'm here. You know, it means more to me.
Um, so, one thing that I've always noticed in both in both occupations, when you're a wrestler and when you're in the military, I saw this really cool post the other day about
Excuse
not
me.
even seeing race, not even caring who it is next to you because you're both fighting together. So, and I read this really cool article about somebody considering that the person next to him was their wife. That's my wife. That's my brother. That's my mom. That's my dad. And my job is to protect them. And I trained for about a year and a half, I think, in pro wrestling. And there's just such a, as a pro wrestler, I noticed there's such a brotherhood, like they are so there for each other. No question. Like if somebody's messing with you, they're messing with all of us. And I see the same thing in the military. Can you talk about the parallels of the brotherhood that's in the military and pro wrestling, and if that was just easy transition for you?
Definitely, there's so much alike. It's not. That's definitely something I love about it. is because they're both so brother oriented. To me, wrestling is definitely more than the military. I guess because people are more empathetic, honestly, in wrestling than they are in the military.
Okay.
But which is needed, you know.
So, one thing that I noticed about a year ago when I was interviewing my buddy Juan, he served in the military and he's also wrestling. So he mentioned the Valhalla Club. So I looked it up, and you're in it. You're in it with two of your buddies.
Yeah.
And for those who have not seen this documentary, it's one of the most thought provoking, interesting things I've seen in a long time. You take your experiences, unfortunately having PTSD, and you find therapy in pro wrestling. And when I say pro wrestling, and people question the legitimacy of it, gravity isn't real. That's what I tell them. I mean, gravity is real. That's what I tell them. That's not fake. You fall, it hurts. I speak from experience. So it's an interesting thing that throwing yourselves around and you do get hurt. You do get bumped up. So the Valhalla Club, you guys found therapy and you found a refuge in it. Can you talk about when you realized that that was your therapy?
I didn't realize it till Jan said something to me. He's like, "Hey," and I was like, "That's why it means so much. That's why I put so much into it. You know, I didn't realize it. You know, I was still in denial. You know, of having PTSD. I didn't want to be labeled that person. You know, people with PTSD have a horrible label sometimes. You know, so I didn't I pushed that away. But Jan definitely helped me realize that, and yeah, Jan's definitely been a lifesaver for that one. He's definitely somebody that has motivated me a lot with helping with Valhalla Club, and not only Valhalla Club, but now like when I reach out for bookings and stuff like that, I'm with my wife. We want to do a seminar to where we teach wrestling and also add mental health talks into it as well. Just because I mean it's a very real thing, and everybody suffers from it, you know. So it's definitely something that should be added.
Talk about deciding to make the documentary. What made you guys take those steps?
Jan's like, "Hey man, like I have this idea," and he ran it by me, and I was just like, "Man, this is so I'm not the only one that feels this way." And then he's had that vision the whole time, and I believe in his vision, you know, and he believes in mine. So we both have visions to make this bigger and a lot more than just what it is. So yeah, Valhalla Club is looking to definitely expand within 2020 and 2021.
When you say that you were in denial, mental health has become such an open conversation with people, where it's not. I mean, I suffer from stuff too, so it takes you a while to finally speak up and face things. So, were you trying to forget all your experiences from the army, or did you feel alone when you decided to deny everything? Did you feel like you were the only one that went through that?
I was just in denial in general. Like I didn't want to be labeled with having PTSD because I know what so many people think of those people. You know that they're crazy and will just fly off the hinge. You know, stuff like that. I don't need that kind of stigma, whatever you want to call it, towards myself. That's why I was in denial for so long.
And finally, Valhalla Club came out, and it's on Amazon Prime. Anybody who wants to go check it out, it's really, really cool. You also, with that, you had an episode of Clever on Comedy Central.
Yeah, man,
Can you
that
talk
was
about how he approached you guys and how you felt his behavior was around the wrestling world being in it for the first time?
for him to like. It was crazy. It was like in a Facebook message, just like Facebook message for like 3 weeks. We talked about things, and then we went to email. And the next thing I know, hey, we got dates set, and we're trying to get everything situated because like there's gonna be a Comedy Central crew coming to film with us for 4 days, and then on top of that, this is right around Christmas of 2000. What was it? 18, 2019. I think it's 2018, and it was just like really busy, and I had gotten an email for extra work at the same time, so it was like 4 days of taping with Comedy Central, and then boom, I gotta get on the road to do an extra loop with WWE. So it was definitely fun.
What's really cool is that you hit Clip the chop in the corner, and my reaction. I mean, sorry, when I saw your reaction to his reaction was funny as hell. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about facial hair. If you guys have grown a beard during the pandemic or you grew your mustache out, you guys got to go to canyouhandlebar.com. Canyouhandlebar.com use all natural ingredients made here in the U.S. to take care of the beard and take care of the mustache. You guys head out to canyouhandlebar.com, use my promo code DNC Digital at takeout, and you get 15% off. So, Bryson, you took Klepper to the corner and you hit him with a chop. And I saw your reaction to his reaction, and that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's almost like you looked at him and you were like, "What did I do? It didn't even hurt."
Yeah, a lot of people, because not a lot of people are expecting somebody that's my size. I'm like 5'6", 5'7". Not many people are expecting me to throw a chop that hurts like it does. So when it happened and when I saw his reaction, it was kind of funny, because you could read that he was underestimating it the whole time, and then when it actually happened, he was like, "Oh, okay."
What did you think about his bumps? Do you think they were clean?
um, they were okay. I mean,
They were
I
okay.
mean, he's definitely not a wrestler, but
Yeah, and he went through a table from you
yeah,
with a frog splash. Did you have a newfound respect for him for doing that? Not just a bump, but
definitely,
actually,
yeah,
whose
definitely.
idea was
He mine. Yeah, so everybody got their little thing on him, and the last one was the frog splash.
Tell me about his
Um,
reaction to you bringing up that idea to him.
he was all for it, that's what made me have like a big respect for Klepper. Was like he's just like, yeah, let's do it. I told him, all right, just trust me, we got this, and it was cool. And like when we actually watched it back on TV and watched how they edited it was cool. I didn't expect for it to look that badass.
How did you feel about seeing yourself on TV with a cool shot of you, standing up on the top rope and doing the taunt right before you do the frog splash?
It was awesome, man. Like I want more now because I have more of a vision of what I want Valhalla Club to be. So it's definitely motivated me more.
That's cool. When you mentioned just now that you told Klepper to trust you, that's something I want to touch on in the wrestling business. You guys are putting on a show, and like you talk about the brotherhood, you talk about how important it is to trust the other guy in the ring with you in order to put on this story and put on this great match.
Well, it's not just about trusting them like with that, but you have to trust him with like making sure he's not going to be a creep around people and everything else as well. Because there's been too much of that in the business lately that's been has been passed by. But the creeps and the pedos and the racists and stuff like that, You know, guys like myself, Barrington Hughes in Florida, Benjamin Banks in Virginia, we're trying to better and start calling these people out, you know, to make our locker rooms safe first and foremost before we can even get into the ring. So making sure the shows are safe, and but then definitely like, just being safe with each other is all about, you know, actually being trained. Don't lie. You know, there's people saying that they're trained by certain people. We all know that that's not the case.
What would you do in the event that somebody goes in and they tell you, yeah, I've been trained, I've had matches, and they're not really trained? Old school people would stretch them out, make them feel what it's really like. What would you do in that situation if you had somebody to come in, try to put on a show with you, and they're not actually trained as much as they said they were?
That's why I always try and know like who I'm working with ahead of time, just for the safety of myself, you know, and not just myself, my family, because they're gonna be there with me, and you know, I I do have a job outside of wrestling that I have to worry about that takes care of bills. So, you know, I have to make sure that I'm safe no matter what.
I want to talk about a funny story I heard in an interview with you. Can you tell me how a bad haircut led to the Studtacular nickname?
um, it just, I just got into the military. My beard, like, I was letting my whole beard grow and it's all bushy and like, I just get a weird haircut and I did a weird comb over and I did the comb over to where it like draped in front of my face. And I don't know, somebody said something, I called it Studtacular, and then that's where it all led from, you know. Kind of crazy what it started to what it is now. Definitely not what I envisioned.
So, who is Studtacular? Tell me about who he is in the ring and what kind of guy he is.
Definitely no bullshit kind of guy, you know, just like me, you know. We're he's me amped up to like a million because like me, I'm quiet, I'm shy right now, you know. I usually am. I'm I, well, depends on who I'm around,
Right.
but a lot of times I'm pretty quiet. But him, he's just like out there, arrogant, cocky, doesn't give a shit who you are. You know, it's fun.
Do you feel some type of liberation playing that character and going out there?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely nice to have that little bit of release of just doing whatever the hell you feel like doing without any real repercussions, because you know nobody's gonna step up to you.
So, one thing I'd like to know is that when did you start learning about ring psychology? I mean, everybody can learn how to bump and learn how to run the ropes and run spots, but it's the psychology that really brings people in as far as the story goes, and it helps tell the story through this poetry in motion. Who
Oh
taught you about psychology, and when did you start using it in your matches?
and it was beat into me like starting with like Chris Escobar when I started training in Virginia. Guys like him and Phil Brown and Damian Wayne, Preston Quinn, Sean Denny, guys like that, they beat it into you, you know. Hey, psychology, 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 and then you get over here to Texas and you got guys like Matthew Palmer and Barrett Brown, Isaiah James. They're out there putting out these amazing stories, you know, that you could read the psychology of it right there, and it just makes it mean that much more. Looking at the match, it makes each one mean that much more.
Um, so I was listening to the New Day podcast a few weeks ago, and they were talking to Cesaro, and they were mentioning these matches that they had, like on Thanksgiving. They had these gimmick matches where there was pie and there was like turkey, and matches where they were dressed up in costumes. Now, a lot of wrestlers, professional wrestlers, they get upset when they're quote used wrong. Now, as a fan, you can look at these matches and say, "Oh, I can't believe they're making them do this and they're making them do that." But Xavier Woods went on record to say, "I'm having the time of my life." And you got characters like Orange Cassidy and Joey Ryan who have developed a huge fan base. Um, what's the difference between these entertaining characters that people get pops from and being used wrong?
Creative control. A lot of it, yeah. Just because because Xavier Woods and stuff like that, they pitch all these great little ideas, to have fun with it. Have fun with it. Make sure you're having fun with it. That's a big part of it, That and the creative control to do that. Um, I definitely know I try and have as much fun with it as I can.
So, what would you say to the fans that kind of look the other way and like, oh my God, they're not even using them right?
Well, they only have so much TV time, They have WWE still, even with all the releases that they just had, they still have a plethora of talent. You know, they can only do so much. They only have so many writers. I will say that. But come up with ideas. Bring up ideas to people. Maybe something will catch on. I still try that.
When you talk about TV time, you were fortunate enough to have TV time standing next to Dean Ambrose on the ramp of Monday Night Raw as one of his gas mask guys. Can you talk about that day and how everything went?
I've done it like multiple times. I've done a couple of things with them like that. I remember getting there and they're like, "Oh, here's your outfit." Oh, cool, sweet. And I've worn a couple gas masks before, going through basic training and stuff like that. So it was fun to help other people get everything situated. And then it sucked because you couldn't see through it at all. It got so foggy and and that was the same night that I met JDF. So.
Oh, that's right. That's something I did want to touch on a little later. How was it backstage at Raw, though? Did you talk to anybody? And yeah, I mean, you were getting instructions for what to do for the night, but how was it being back there amongst all these WWE stars?
I mean, I know I'm not a signed WWE talent, but I try and hold myself to that standard while I'm there. They have a dress code, we follow that dress code, stuff like that. So I just try and be on my P's and Q's. Make sure I'm doing the right thing. I'm where I'm needed, and if they need me for anything, I'm there.
And
definitely
you were able.
Catering.
Oh, okay. You were able to have an awesome match on 205 Live, and man, it was just so crazy to watch you. Talk about that match. Talk about the crowd reaction. Talk about you going back after the match. What kind of response did they give you in the back?
Yeah, I ended up actually working two matches, kind of. It was like 5 minutes altogether, but
Yeah.
Rich Swann and then TJP. It was definitely an awesome feeling, and that was the first time I was ever on a WWE loop too, so I was not expecting to be able to wrestle on my first one, and then it was right here in San Antonio, like AT&T Center. I live like 10 minutes from there now, so it's kind of cool to ride by there sometimes to be like, yeah, I've wrestled in that big ass venue, but it was definitely surreal. It makes you, as you progress longer and longer into your career, it makes you want that match back now. Both those guys are no longer with the mainstream product of WWE. I know that I sent a tweet out, and TJP's all about trying to get this rematch in. So hopefully that happens here soon.
That's cool. What kind of response did you get when you walked to the back?
It was pretty cool. Like people were nodding their head, you know. I got a couple fist bumps that I wasn't expecting. I'm not gonna like name drop. That's just not what I do. But
Right.
it was cool. It was definitely cool to have that, you know. To It definitely made you more hungry. That's
That's
for
awesome.
sure.
So when you're working indie shows and you're working in front of like 100, 200 people on a sold out night, was it intimidating walking out there and having the AT&T Center filled up?
Oh, regardless, I still get nervous. You know, I love what I do. It means something to me. So I get nervous. But dude, yeah, walking out there at the AT&T Center and looking around, I was just like, oh, this is too much right now. Yeah, definitely.
Um, so one thing I wanted to talk about was a big match you were supposed to have. And I know you have your feelings about this. This guy has been, he was like, you know what? It's almost like, because we're buddies now, right? You know,
Yeah.
and I support you and I support everything that you do and everything that you want to do. That one of my childhood heroes, um, I guess you can say, flaked out on you. I was a huge Power Rangers fan, and I was a big fan of the White Ranger slash Green Ranger. I met him a few times.
Same.
He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy, and he signed autographs, took pictures. But so the story is that he was a guest at an LWA show, Laredo Wrestling Alliance, and you guys mouthed off to each other, and then he hit you with a punch, and it set up this huge thing that you guys were supposed to have a match, and this is where you can take it from here. How did that come about?
Yeah, we were set to do a contract signing. It was April 19th of 2019. This was in New Braunfels for LWA. I was actually wrestling Barrett Brown that night as well, but I was supposed to sign the contract to wrestle JDF that night. And the night prior, we got a email or like a Facebook notification of a group message, and there's a video of him like in a hotel bed doing this little poor oh I'm sick thing. Um, so I mean that's pretty much where we're at now. You know, I've messaged him, hey, are we gonna get this done? What's going on? People are still asking about this. Um, so
Has he responded to you when you send him messages to see what's up?
no, no. I mean, I still tag him and stuff occasionally just to be a smartass, you know. Oh, JDF still fears me, you know, and nothing, you know.
And
It's
so
it's
how did that idea come about? You mentioned that the night that you were wearing
when
the gas mask when you met JDF.
yeah, I was leaving the arena that night, and I have this one suit that I wear. It's like my lucky suit, and it's white and black. And JDF pretty much had a matching jacket, and he was like recording with fans, and he goes, "Oh, we have matching suit," and we took a picture together. And he was like, "What's your number? I'll text it to you." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "This is my childhood icon," and he just asked me for my number and my Instagram, and he like, boom, right away, and then he goes back and looks at his Instagram story, and you could see video of me in the gas mask, like he took, and it was cool. And then that's pretty much how we got each other's number. He asked for my number just so he gets in that picture, because I still had my phone in my bag because the policy there.
Right. And then that's when you guys started talking about doing something together and
uh,
unfortunately
it was a little bit after that. That was actually it was the weekend after that we started talking about it originally. Because yeah, we had Veronica had two shows in Laredo, and that's when we started talking about it. And it was just like from there, it was just like boom, let's go. And by the 28th of December, that's when he was in Laredo. It was from the beginning of December to the end of December. That's how quick it happened.
That's awesome, bro. I want to talk about your wife. She's also in the wrestling business.
Yeah, yeah.
Simply Luscious. Can you tell me about her, man? Tell me about how you guys met, and tell me about her history and Ring of Honor. You can take it away from there.
She is the only female graduate of Shawn Michaels Academy. It is the Texas Wrestling Academy is what it's known as now. It's not the Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy now. So it's two different things, but she is the only female graduate from there. She was the first woman to ever have a match in Ring of Honor with Sumi Sakai, which is pretty cool to say, you know. She was also a former TNA knockout as Nurse Veronica. She's been to Japan, Europe. She's been all over, man. She's definitely a motivator for what I want in my career. We originally met July 17th of 2010, and I can remember this because it's now like kind of like our wedding anniversary, because 3 years to that day is when we got married, and we didn't plan that. But that's when we met, and then, like I said, I was still married at the time, and finally went through my divorce, got my divorce, and she was single, and she had been through her thing, and we gave it a shot, and we're definitely happy, you know. And now we're doing a lot of the mixed tag or intergender matches of simply Studtacular. That's the name we're going under, and she's actually changed her work name to Luscious Veronica Scott now, so it's a little bit more aligned, but it still pays honor to her, what she's done.
That's awesome, man. And you guys got a beautiful family. You got some great kids, beautiful kids, and you guys got a new addition to the family. Can you talk about your new addition to the family? Because this has been
this is the
like
first
such fun to watch, bro.
This is his podcast like debut. So yeah, we get to talk about Manson. Yeah, we just got a Juliana pig, which they get up to like 45 pounds, really.
Oh
so,
my God.
Almost the size of my basset hound. But he's awesome. We took him to the beach this past weekend. He hated it. I think it might have also been due to a high water level because of the tropical storm or whatever. But yeah, the water just splashed in his face, and he was not having it. He let out the biggest squeal, and that's when everybody at the beach was like, "Oh my God, somebody's got a pig here." And yeah, he's definitely an attention getter.
Yeah, it's been so much fun to watch him, and that guy's gotten big already, man.
Oh,
like
he's huge. He's huge.
He was like this. I saw the video when you guys got him. He must have been like this. He kept scratching himself on your concrete and everything. But I saw a picture of him with your other dog, and they're like the same size.
Oh yeah. Oh, the one I put up today, right? Yeah. Yeah. I woke up and I saw that. I was like, "Oh, that's perfect." Took that picture, and I think I went back to sleep for a little bit.
Around all your other pets?
What's that?
Does he think he's a dog because he's around all your other pets?
I think so. I mean, because when we tell the dogs, "Hey, go outside and go potty," he's right there with them, going outside to go potty. You know, I mean, it definitely made it easy for potty training. And he's smart. He's so smart, but he's also a smart ass.
Who does he get that?
Oh, my wife, definitely. I mean, my kids, not my wife. I did not say that.
Brysin, what are you looking forward to the most, man, when wrestling comes back? Is it the crowd? Is it the guys in the locker room? It's the first
crowd, the boys, everything, man. Just the crowd, the boys, everything about it. You know, getting the family ready, getting us all dressed up. Because, you know, me and my family, we like to dress up when we go to shows. Me and my son like to match. My daughter and my wife like to match, you know. Man, we had so many outfits we were getting. went right before COVID hit, and boom, nothing. So we're definitely stacked up for a while. We're ready to look good and just go out there and have fun as a family.
Man, I wish you all the best, dude. After telling me your story, I feel like we got closer. We became best friends, you know. But
Definitely.
appreciate you doing the show, man. I appreciate your time. Can you tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
Twitter, it is at Mr. Studtacular BS. Instagram, the same. That's pretty much where you can find me everywhere. Is at Mr. Studtacular BS or Brysin Scott. I'm very easy to find.
Awesome. And do we have a new shirt coming out? Is there a new shirt coming out?
There will be one or two here soon, hopefully. I'm working on it. I'm excited. I'm waiting. It's just so close.
That's awesome. And I got some posters that I made for you. I'm going to be sending out to you.
Definitely. Hopefully your mail gets there today, because it's like I'm waiting on that, and then I'm waiting Veronica to get another phone because hers got water damage in Corpus. So I'm like, yeah, and that was coming from Houston. So I'm like, why is it taking so long to get here? So.
Yeah, the mail's been funny. I've been expecting something from somebody, and it hasn't gone here either. But like I said, Brysin, thanks so much for your time. I wish you all the best luck. I wish you, you know what's one thing I was wondering today? Even in WWE, I feel like everybody is going to get a huge pop when the crowds come back.
I hope so.
I hope the biggest reaction for you. I wish for you the best.
I just hope they all boo me and give me the bird. You know, that's what makes me happy. You know, hate me, please.
Is that the validation that you seek from people?
Oh,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
for sure.
Brysin Scott on Facebook, Mr. Studtacular BS on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at DNC Digital on Twitter and Instagram, and DNC Digital on Facebook. Once again, Mr. Brysin Scott. Thank you guys so much. I hope everything's going good. Like I said in the beginning of the show, some crazy stuff's going on. Just make sure you spread love. I mean, I know that sounds corny, but make sure you spread love. Make sure your kids are okay and your family's doing good. This is D for DNC Digital, and I'm out.